KayFabe Smark Podcast. Welcome to the KayFabe Smark Podcast with Eric Todd and Brian Rompa, your Smart Mark source for news and opinions on the world of professional wrestling.
Hey. It is October 15th. If you're listening to us here on the YouTube Live, if you're getting the audio version, it is the 16th. This is episode 21 of the KayFabe Smark Podcast. This is Brian. Hanging out with me always is Eric. Eric, what is going on over in your world?
You know, same old. Filled out my absentee ballot today, got that sent on. So make sure if you're voting, vote. If you're not voting, vote. No matter who you're voting for, I don't care. Just get her done.
If you're voting, vote. And if you're not, vote. Sending that absentee ballot. I think it was funny how everybody was all butthurt and angry about those absentee ballots. I almost said valets. Absentee ballots. If you wouldn't send money through the post office, trust your ballot. And I've been voting absentee since 2012.
Yeah, I haven't voted since 2008, so guilty as charged. But this year they made it easy for me. They sent me the application in the mail. So I just whipped that up within 2 days. I got my absentee ballot, and yeah.
Yeah, I went
when it's that easy, and I don't got to go stand at an elementary school for 4 hours.
Yeah,
I'll vote all day.
Yeah, that's the hard part. And then the absentee ballot, I did it started because I was going to be gone on my honeymoon after I got married, and couldn't be there to vote because we were going to be gone. So we filed for absentee, and once you do it once, you just always get it. So I was like, cool, I'm never going back. So
Works for me.
That is what was going on with that. All right, so we are hanging out October 15th. We're trying a little YouTube Live. So if you guys are listening to the audio version, hop on up to YouTube. Make sure you like, subscribe over on YouTube. And then also jump on over to all of our other social media platforms on Facebook and Instagram, the KayFabe Smark, and join us over there. Also, anchor.fm/thekayfabesmark. That's where you can leave us some voicemails and join in on some conversations over there. Share it with a friend, like, subscribe, and all of that fun stuff. We're going to keep doing these live now, so feel free to hop in, listen live on Thursday evenings around that 9:30 mark, as we're a little later than that. But, we run on KayFabe Smark time.
Fashionably late.
Right around that 9:30 time. We'll tighten it up, and then you guys can jump in there and be in the chat and ask some questions. We can hang out and do the wrestling talk. So this week, I think we're diving in, mostly going to sink our teeth into this AEW Dynamite with their anniversary birthday show. So I think we're going to be mostly sticking with that, but we're going to talk about NXT, a few other things, little news and tidbits. So last week, we spoke about the Finn Balor at the TakeOver 31, right? That was last week?
Right.
Yes, 31. He officially, if everybody saw it on Instagram and everything else and Twitter, he posted pictures of his x-rays of his broken jawbone, and then on NXT this week, they spoke about it. So you got to see a little bit of that. So, yes, his jaw is broken, and they are really hoping that he doesn't have to drop the title, that he can keep defending it, and they're going to hopefully let him sit it out a few weeks and stretch the time out. So the next big TakeOver event isn't scheduled till December. They do have the Halloween Havoc in between there, but the next big TakeOver event not till December. So hopefully they can give him some time from now till December, maybe a little bit after that. So we shall see.
Yeah, if it's only a few weeks, even 6 to 8 weeks, if they want to stretch it out, I think Damian Priest, Johnny Gargano, those type of guys, they're all floating towards the top of the roster and working for that North American title. I think that title could carry the brand for a few weeks. There won't be any problem with that.
I don't think you're wrong. And, they pretty much did stuff like that back in the day with the old, go back into the 80s with Hogan. He wasn't at every single TV. He was, Saturday night's main event and the pay-per-views. And that was about it. The only time you saw Hogan. And then, even at some of the smaller stuff through the 90s that they switch into the in your house is the big, the champion wasn't always defended or the championship wasn't always defended. So it's not that big a deal. They can get through it as long as it's not going to be obviously like a year. Then he's screwed. But a couple weeks or whatever. I think they can put it through it and cut some cool vignettes and work around it. No need to run away from it. So let's and then the other bit of news. Last week we talked about it as well. Ridge Holland. Remember we were talking about how he got hurt? Didn't really see what happened. Did you watch the replay of that?
I did not see it. No.
Oh, I'll share the picture here. He jacked up his ankle. Something fierce. It's pretty gross looking. Got a picture here. Suffered a dislocated and broken left ankle and ruptured his patellar tendon along with patellar dislocation. I mean, this thing, his ankle just said, nope.
He said, I'm done.
Folded.
We're going on vacation, pal.
Yeah. He just was getting a little gimmick going, too. His little pork pie hat and flasher jacket. He was good to go. But, so he definitely got hurt there, and he is going to be out for a while. He underwent surgery last week, and he should be making a full recovery. But unfortunately, for the time being, he's on the shelf.
Yeah, I don't know if he's going to pack up his trench coat and panties and go back to England for a few weeks, or if he's going to hang around Florida and enjoy the sights and sounds.
Yeah, maybe he can at least maybe he can come back with a new gimmick. Go learn a new hold.
Right. Maybe just switch it up, be a soccer hooligan.
Something, man. Him and Sheamus can partner up. Sheamus is dressing the part these days in that soccer hooligan get up, so whatever, man. I don't know what's happening. Everybody getting injured. It sucks. Sucks when they get injured and they get something going, especially like Finn. People with the title, right? That sucks. I couldn't imagine that. But
it's always the title's cursed, man.
Yeah.
Right now, this day and age, I would not want to be NXT champion.
No, it's like back in the day when they would put somebody on the cover of Madden. Remember the Madden curse? And like through like the 90s, like everybody who got put on the Madden was like, "Hey, look, we got I'm on the cover of Madden football," and then it'd be like blow their knee out first game, blow their ankle out, like shoulders. You're like, "Don't put me on the cover. Don't put me on the cover."
Whatever you do, you can put me in the booklet.
Put me in the booklet. Put me in the game, but don't put me on the cover. Well, with all that being said, I got nothing else for news. Was a little slow, but we can dive in and talk about All Elite Pro Wrestling and their 1-year birthday show, starting season 2. It was an action-packed night.
Celebrations all around. Last week, obviously, Chris Jericho's 30th anniversary. Him and Jim Cornette had a little heat going back and forth on the old Twitter machines. Jim Cornette was, to be nice, slightly critical of Chris Jericho's match involving Luther, his buddy. Luther having not really stepped in the ring in about 20 years or so, extremely old and out of shape and blown up within 2 minutes. So obviously Cornette tore him to pieces. Jericho was not happy about that and tweeted, if Jim Cornette could just pipe, I'm paraphrasing here, the tweet deleted and I didn't get a screenshot. If Jim Cornette would just pipe down a little bit and ease up, maybe we'd offer him a consulting job and pay him.
But nonetheless, in the defense, I'm not a Cornette guy, but that match sucked.
Dude, that final move like Luther tried on Jericho there, like if he would have actually tried landing with some knee in the back off the rope thing, he would have killed Jericho. He was so blown up, he wouldn't have been able to support himself.
It was bad. It was just clunky and ugly, and it was bad. That was bad. I've been a defender, a defender of the AEW honor for a while, and that was a piece of garbage.
So, yeah, of course, Cornette responds. Now they're trying to bribe me to keep my mouth shut, and they're probably paying Dave Meltzer now. That's why he's giving the Young Bucks 7 stars on every match. And and it's an entertaining feud. You should hop on the Twitter machine and check that out sometime.
Yeah, I'll have to dive into get back in the Twitter world. I was involved with Twitter for a while, and then it just was it was weird, and I just couldn't wrap my hand around it there. The Twitter world. It's a very toxic place.
Yes, very toxic.
All right, AEW Dynamite 1 year anniversary kicks it off. AEW Tag Team Championship match. FTR taking on your friends, your best friends,
Our
best friends.
Your friends, their friends, the best friends. No weenie references this week.
Thank goodness. Yeah.
Is now is it fair to say that best friends gimmick, if you had to put a title on their gimmick, would it be that they're just kids? Because if you think about it, they're calling the big bullies weenies, and they get rides to shows in Sue's minivan. And they call themselves comedy wrestlers. What would you define their gimmick as? It's almost like they're just kids.
Yeah, or Arrested Development.
Yeah, it's a blast from the past right there.
Yeah, they have that Arrested Development brain set where it's like, we just loved being teenagers. They're like 12-year-old boys. It's a weird gimmick. Yeah, it's a weird gimmick. I don't know. It is. Now you've challenged me with a question that I don't know how to answer. Like, yeah, what is their gimmick?
I don't know.
Being best friends. But evidently you can't be best friends as grown adults.
Right. Me and you were in trouble.
We're in trouble. We are best friends. We are adults.
Well, turns out we're not the best friends. We're the weenies.
We're the weenies. Big fat weenies. All right, so this match, Eric, not going to lie, watched it. Did best friends step the game up? Did FTR reach down and pull them up? Which one do you think it was?
FTR pulled them out of a pile of shit and shined them up a little bit. I saw it on Mythbusters one time. You can polish a turd, and FTR proved it for a second time right here. Obviously, Trent is the more talented out of the duo, but even Chucky T looked slightly like a professional wrestler last night.
Yeah, the gimmicks were off. It wasn't so goofy, cheesy. There was some wrestling involved, and then they also made you laugh, which was fine. You can do your best friend the hug. I think the hug is funny. We watched Hogan hulk up for years. We watched Macho Man twirl his finger around, or Ultimate Warrior pray to the gods and pull you know what I'm saying? Like, I can get behind something that's a little stretch the imagination. So like a best friend hug and explodes and gives you energy, and then you can fight. All right, whatever. But it doesn't always have to be so over the top. Like they're still 12-year-olds, like they're riding their BMX bikes and
once again, my son decided to join me. He said, "I'll watch one match with you, Dad." And I said, "Okay, well, this is it. Sit down. It's FTR. If you're going to watch one match, you're going to watch this match."
Yeah.
And he agreed with me that either FTR is just really fucking good at acting, or them some bitches hate the best friends in real life. Every offensive move FTR put in there was super snug, super fast, snappy, and just the looks on their face were just like pure hatred the entire time. Now, I'm not saying they're not good at their job. It could be they might be best friends. They might have play foursome golf tournaments together. Who knows? But man, in this match in particular, FTR appeared that they really hated the best friends.
Yeah, they definitely sold that angle. The only thing that they kept... Yes, they sold the angle. I got another angle that I was going to take on this, but they took the big heel angle for sure. FTR did. And that's obviously what they've been doing for the longest time now, for the last several weeks, that they've been champions, taking the big dirty heel angle, and then the best friends. I don't know if you can be the best friends and be evil, like with this attitude they have, so, or be the heel. So they have to take the super babyface approach to things. And yeah, like I said, the FTR stepped the game up and then brought the best friends with them. And this was a pretty good match to kick off the night with. I wasn't mad at this match. The spots were fast. There was one catch me spot, but it happened fast. They didn't have to get lined up and everybody on their X's and make sure your toes are pointed the right way. It was really quick, so I don't mind those.
Right. It just seemed spontaneous, just like you said.
Right.
So I wasn't too mad at this. This was a great way to start off. A couple goofy antics in there. The arcade cabinet thing.
That was definitely on my list to speak about tonight. Is that they open up the show and they do that pan thing and they show Kip and Penelope Ford playing their video game, and just like last week, it was Miro playing the video game. Okay, it's the little gimmick. They got the arcade cabinet, but this week there was a tension drawn to it just in the intro, and then when they went over the rail, they didn't stop. Everybody else kind of spread in the crowd, right? Whoa, and they backed away, and you make that little like invisible fence, and the guys kind of fight through it, but these guys never stop. They're just playing the video game, play the video game, and you're like, well, here it goes. And it was made of balsa wood.
and not plugged in, not a power cord.
I was going to say, I didn't see it plugged in anywhere.
Must be battery operated.
The only gimmick that I can give it and then there was like no guts on the inside. It was just kind of...
They're walking around with the joysticks, and the wires for the joysticks are still perfectly... bundled inside the joysticks, and it's like, oh, you guys put zero effort into this.
Yeah, that was pretty bad. The other thing that was bad that was bugging me is the commentators in this match kept stating FTR has what we like to call the Tully factor.
Tully doesn't do shit. If they had the Tully factor, make Tully doesn't talk. Tully doesn't get involved besides tripping anybody once in a while. Tully's useless, so I don't know what this Tully factor is they're speaking of.
I didn't get it either. They kept saying it, and by the way they kept saying it, I was like, man, something's going to happen with this. They have to do something with it. And so then they just kept saying it, and Tully's on the outside. You got the Tully factor. Don't forget the Tully factor. And of course, we'll talk about the ending, but, he gets involved. And it's just like, damn, man, like, why you got to draw so much attention to it? We know he's a dirty player. Like, that's fine. You got your referee, your manager that'll do anything for you. But just
why I think AEW, if somebody points something out and they wanna fix it, such as when, I don't know if it was last week or the week before, Tully got involved, but nobody really saw it. Either when he held down somebody's feet so FTR could pin him, and nobody really noticed it all that much. So I think this was them, the commentators, making up for it. It's like, all right, we got to keep constant attention on Tully so people see that he's a part of this dirty team too.
Yeah, yes, the Tully factor. Just leave it alone and let the manager exist on the outside. You don't remember Gorilla Monsoon going, every time Jimmy Hart or Bobby the Brain were out there, oh, you got to watch Jimmy. You got to watch Jimmy Hart. He'll throw the megaphone in the ring, and so the Nasty Boys can, mollywop somebody in the head with it. They didn't do that. It just was like, when it happened, though, you'd go, oh, that snake.
Don't forget, Mr. Fuji's walking around the ring with a bucket of salt.
Yeah.
Don't keep your eye on Mr. Fuji.
Don't forget.
Guys, don't forget Mr. Fuji's out there with a bucket of salt.
Did you forget? I think you forgot. Don't forget. And you're going, God dang,
you
man.
See that salt?
Don't forget. It was just like, don't get so caught up in what it has to be. Just let it happen. So wait till Tully gets involved, and then you can go, see, he did it again. And then, do some old Legion of Doom where they would put Paul Ellering in the cage and the shark, because he would get involved, and they'd have to put him in the match, Legion of Doom. They'd be like, the other team would want, the Rock and Roll Express would want him removed, and because you would always get involved and help. So it's like, just be creative with it. Let it happen. Don't force it on me here. But anyways, enough of that. What else did you think about this match?
It was pretty solid. I didn't have too many complaints besides the arcade cabinet thing.
Yeah.
And the belt spot at the end was a little clunky. Rick Knox, the worst referee ever, is the one they choose to do this weird acting.
Paul Turner.
Paul
Turner would be the
Paul
worst.
Turner.
Rick Knox.
I wish I had the commentators to remind me how bad Paul Turner is the entire match.
Rick Knox looks like Earl Hebner compared to Paul Turner.
But the whole spot where like you see him hit the ground and you're just like, oh, some cheating's coming up here. He's distracted, but it just so, I don't know, it just seems so unnatural when Rick Knox hit the ground.
Yeah. They just have to. Other than that, this match was good. It was just they didn't have the small little pieces were missing. Like it was just either overdone, overacted, the stupid cabinet, the overacting of the ref, little things like that, and it was just in the FTR jamming, just let the match kind of happen and just call it and roll with it and let the spots happen.
And just the over commentating and overemphasis on things such as the cabinet even rolls over to the next match, and it's just like,
well, because then you hear Kip Sabian screaming, "Go get him! Go get him!" So Penelope runs away, and then he does.
Yeah.
But by the time he comes out, the match is a wrap.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's almost like AEW is either playing to 6-year-olds or they think we're all complete idiots and they need to put everything out there for us. But it just comes off as patronizing almost, just we don't need that shit. But I was pretty happy with that. So Rick Knox hitting the ground looked super clunky for the belt spot, but it appeared that I don't have it in my notes. Whatever, I think it was Cash decked Chuck Taylor with that belt, and it looked like he mollywopped him, and there was a good sound there. It sounded like it really cracked him in the head.
Yeah. And then then we have Tully Blanchard with a cheap shot from the heavyweight ring bell, or the heavy ring bell, led to the finish for FTR with the win. FTR improves to 12-0, I got here on the notes. But it was just, again, the fact that they said the Tully factor, and then it happened, bugged me. I know I've gone back to it 5 times, but shit, man, just bugged me. I thought they should have skipped on that, but I thought this was, overall, as much as I'm bitching about it, was a solid match. The match was good. The wrestling was good. It was the stuff that they tried to cram down your throat that you remember that made it stink. It was the toppings.
Besides the bad commentating, this match was just, it was good for who was involved. You're used to seeing a shit show, but still, nothing really memorable. Nothing next week I'm going to be like, oh man, I wish this was as good as that Best Friends match we watched last week. There wasn't anything memorable. I think we're just happy with this because we're used to seeing a complete shit show when the Best Friends are in the ring.
Fact. And then
Penelope does do her job and retrieves Miro.
Yeah.
And he is fired up. He is mad about his video game, as Tony Schiavone keeps saying. They destroyed his video game.
His video game.
Can we push that down your throat too? That Miro's a Twitcher.
Yeah, Miro twitches. Sabian twitches. We get it. WWE doesn't let their guys twitch. We get it.
They don't have Tourette's. They're on Twitch.com playing video games.
Yes, they are internet panhandling for money. It is okay. So he comes out, and then they have him in. Then a match pops up.
Yeah, Miro and Kip Sabian are fighting the dynamic duo of Lee Johnson and Sean Maluda.
Maluda.
The great Maluda.
This match was a barn burner.
I've got my notes. Schiavone and Excalibur are running the destroyed video game and thing into the ground. The entire length of this match, which is about 15 seconds or whatever, there's video game. They're mad about that video game.
Twitch. They're gonna play the video game. Those kids in them video games. It's just a fad. The video games will go away one day.
This was just basically a squash match just to show Miro's dominance.
The second they came out and you saw that, okay, they're going to work him into a match now, and then I saw who it was, and I paid little to minimal attention to the situation at hand because it didn't matter. Even we aren't gonna miss anything. You're just gonna miss these rag dolls getting thrown around the ring and beat up.
And obviously, Miro, Kip Sabian win. I don't remember exactly how, but I'm sure it was dominant. And Miro cuts a promo, and he's angry because at the best friends because you broke my shit.
They smashed his arcade game, his video game.
So yeah, he cuts the whole thing in whatever his home language is.
The good friends broke their game.
Yeah, broke his shit. And then we cut backstage, and what do we got going on backstage, Brian? In the food area,
in catering,
yes, in catering.
Murder Hawk taking on and beating up John. Say it
There's
like,
another thing.
what's his name there? John Moxley backstage.
We get that shoved down our throat the entire 2 hours too until their match builds up.
Well, at least that led to something positive for the match, but we'll talk about that as we move along here. Was there anything else that happened until we come back? You see, we watch Archer attack, blah, blah, blah. They separate them. All right. MJF.
Yeah, MJF comes out to cut a promo and calls Chris Jericho out.
What did you think of what do you think they're doing with this Sammy Guevara MJF deal? Think they're working an angle for a feud?
We see later on in the show, Sammy's going to be busy for the next couple weeks.
Yeah, that's why I'm confused.
Yeah.
So if
I
you didn't
think
see
maybe they're working on Sammy breaking away from the Inner Circle.
maybe. So if you didn't see it, they call out Jericho or Jericho. MJF and Wardlow are out in the ring. Wardlow was there, wasn't he?
Yeah,
was
Wardlow
bouncing
was
around. They're out in the ring, and he introduces and calls out Le Champion, the Demo God, and the Inner Circle comes with him. And then they all have their jackets on that MJF got them the week previous or the 2 weeks previous, and they finally have one for Sammy Guevara. Sammy's insisted and told to put it on. Jericho screams at him, "Put it on! Put it on!" And he puts it on, and it's like a size 6X. It's giant, and it looks huge on Sammy, and then he looks all sad because he looks goofy, and he goes and stands in the back.
And he's flapping his arms like a bird.
Flapping his arms like a bird. So the first weeks that starting this, Sammy didn't get a jacket. Now he gets one, and it looks goofy on him. I can't figure out the angle they're working with this. If they're going to take on an MJF Jericho angle, or not MJF. I keep all these too many names here. If they're going to make a Sammy Guevara Jericho angle, as Jericho gets, Sammy's going to get mad at Jericho for always siding with MJF in these arguments. If Sammy's going to bounce out, or they're going to do something with MJF, I don't know.
If I had to pull some speculation out of my ass, I would say Sammy's going to get tired of being little brothered all the time and being pushed to the back, and he's going to break free, which would be a compliment, I guess, if they say he could break out of the faction and be a singles guy.
Yeah, especially this young and into the business. So they go on, they introduce him out, and
Jericho, he's been working on his abs.
Jericho was looking. I'm telling you, it's the pants that I think that he normally squeezes into aren't flattering on him.
It just moves all his belly fat up.
Yeah, because there's no way that he leaned out that much. You know what I'm saying? It's those he squeezed in those leather pants, and just he was in some regular kind of wrestling spandex pants this week, and he looked normal.
Right. And he actually had a six-pack, which later on through the segment, he must have forgot to quit or to keep flexing.
Got a little
and
tired.
The six-pack went away a little bit.
Well,
but he didn't have the gut that he normally has when he wrestles.
I'm telling you, those pants are not the best for him. So, long story short, the whole point of this is MJF stutters and mutters the phrase, "I want to join the Inner Circle."
Right. He has to keep talking himself into it because his pride won't let him just straight up and ask. So he beats around the bush and, passive-aggressively asks to be in the Inner Circle.
Yeah, in this weird, like, hubbada, like, kind of mumbles and stutters and mutters.
I sort of want to, theoretically join the Inner Circle.
And then and then we get, was it Ortiz or Santana? Where'd my notes go? Ortiz jumps in. Ortiz grabs the mic, and he says they don't want him in the inner circle, and then asks Jericho if they can leave, and then Jericho says they need time to think about it, and then only if he can see him next week for a steak dinner.
Yeah, they build up, like, once again, I don't know who they're playing to, what audience they're playing to, where they're trying to, they think we're going to fall for, oh my God, we're going to get all excited. We're going to see MJF versus Jericho. Anyone with half a brain in their head knows we're not going to see MJF versus Jericho anytime soon.
On free TV.
Right.
You're paying for that match.
So Jericho invites them to a steak dinner. And, yeah, we even get a big announcement towards the end of the show with a pre-made graphic and everything, like Lay Steakhouse or whatever.
Yeah. So they're going to have a steak dinner next week. So be ready for the vignettes of the steak dinner that will happen. I'm going to call 3 segments throughout the show that will lead to the steak dinner. You'll probably see them going to dinner, eating dinner, and then ending the dinner, something along those lines. But it won't just be one spot in the middle. It'll be 2 minutes in the beginning, a couple minutes at the end, and a couple minutes at the end of the show. You're gonna see these like this whole, like, they've been out all night. So don't expect to see them on TV.
Right. It's all gonna be vignettes. I hope Brody Lee makes an appearance eating a well done steak with ketchup.
Is that how he likes them?
Oh, that's the rumors of him always imitating Vince McMahon. That's supposedly what Vince likes.
Oh, is the well done steak with ketchup?
Right.
Or you're going to see an overproduced segment that's actually at Daly's place, and they're going to have tables and chairs set up kind of off to the side, maybe in front of like where Schiavone and JR sit, and it'll be like a whole restaurant scene where those two numbskulls are sitting there, and that's where they're having their steak dinner, is at Daly's place.
Oh, God, I hope not. Especially because Jericho said, I'll see you at the restaurant.
Oh, okay, yeah. So maybe, so then I'm sticking with my first one. 3 segments at the restaurant. We're definitely going to get 3 segments at the restaurant. What do you think about MJF joining, quote, Inner Circle?
I don't know. I don't think he needs to. He's such a star on his own. But it does itch my curiosity to see what him and Jericho could do together.
It also makes me think that, are they going to switch and everybody's going to fall in love with MJF and they're going to push Jericho out, and Jericho can go babyface for a little bit since he's been heel for over a year now in AEW. Yeah,
that's you're playing chess, I'm playing checkers here. They're thinking a few moves ahead. It makes sense. I could see it happening.
I think there's just a possibility of seeing it go down that way. So could be. We'll see. Just time will tell. As long as they just let it happen. I'm not mad at this segment so far. It's a little over cheesy acted sometimes, but the whole steak thing and all that jazz, they could just say, just come out next week and tell me your answer.
Like they're trying to be funny. Jericho wants to fit in with the comedy.
But Jericho is funny. Is the thing. I've seen him be funny. He can't either Jericho is not okay. Here's the thing: either Jericho is not funny, and he can read a script and be funny,
right?
Or he's trying too hard and he's not being funny. So something's he's trying to force it and it's not working, or he's just really good at reading a script and the WWE writers shined up that turd nice too.
You and I have read enough of his books to. He's a creative guy.
Right.
But I think he also may have a million ideas, just like you said in a previous episode, that he just bounces off the walls, and WWE constantly shot him down, and you ended up whittling him down to a good idea.
Get him to
where
focus
in AEW,
he's all
Money Mark McGee there says, do whatever you want, Chris. I don't care. You can cover yourself in steak. And
are they gonna have a steak sauce match, an A1 sauce?
Right. Whoever gets dipped in the steak sauce loses.
That whoever falls in the steak sauce is eliminated from the inner circle and is now the leader.
I hope they have a Black Rock grill match where on either side of the ring is a solid piece of granite that's 800 degrees. And they have to wear just panties. And whoever gets body slammed onto the 800-degree rock
Gets sizzled.
loses. They lose in more ways than one.
Oh, that's one way about it.
They lose a layer of skin. It's muscle tissue.
Let's just take a minute and we'll just complete pun here. Let's marinate in that for a second and just think.
Yes. I mean, could you see it? Do you really think it's too far for AEW?
I don't is the sad thing.
We're talking about steak dinners. They might as well have a Black Rock grill match.
They're going to have a steak dinner match. Holy shit. Well, if I had a way to transition out of that smoothly, I would, but I don't. So let's go ahead and talk about this Dr. Britt Baker update.
Oh, God. This was a shit show, too.
Hey, I just say give all the credit in the world. Mad props to Tony Schiavone. Schiavone out there getting waxed and taxed.
Yeah, well, from the beginning, he's interviewing Britt, and she's just being her normal bitchy self. And whatever, I get it, role model, yada, yada. Reba come out, turn the page. And then out of nowhere, she notices that Tony's naked. And she freaks out, and then we could just get the shittiest jump cut to all of a sudden they're all cool again.
And gonna wax his chest.
And they're gonna wax his chest, even though they were just so creeped out that Schiavone was naked next to him.
But it's so stupid too, because he wasn't like he didn't have a shirt on, but he had a towel or a robe on.
Yeah, his towel was like at his belly button, so I don't know if they saw his meat piece hanging out the bottom. I don't know if Shivani's blessed like that, or if he had a boner.
What do they call it on the What Happened When Wednesday? He's got a low key big hog.
He's smuggling pigs into the.
Fuck, man, that was it was funny but weird. But I think Schiavone really got waxed though. I think they were really waxing.
Yeah, that looked legit.
It was reminded me of whatchamacallit, their 40-year-old virgin when they were waxing his chest. That was pretty funny. Made me laugh. Dr. Britt Baker said things. I don't remember what she said. It must not have been that important.
But anyway, we get the announcement that Britt Baker she's back, and she'll be back in action next week. And when they just say back in action, we know it's going to be a squash match.
Yes. Squash match. All right. And then we get this next match. Top of the hour.
Boy.
Top of the second hour. We're at 9:00 now, and of course, what time does that mean? It means it's the TNT Championship match, because those matches only take place at 9:00 on Wednesdays. They're a ratings grabber for people flipping the channels on an in-between is what they're going for. Personally, I think they should put him as a headliner, but the hell do I know? I'm just a guy on the internet talking about wrestling. Okay, so where do you want to start?
What can I say about this match that I don't say every single week? It's Orange Cassidy versus Cody again.
Again.
And Orange Cassidy is being pushed as a top talent. I could see him being a top talent, top tier championship talent at your local flea market. But this is a nationally televised TV show getting roughly 800,000 viewers a week. And this is the guy you're pushing as a top talent that can take Cody to the limit, that can take Brody Lee to the limit, that can take who the hell else has he fought and just
Jericho.
Oh yeah, he can take Jericho to the limit multiple times. This guy is getting the push that fucking push, Conrad.
The fucking
this guy's
push.
Getting,
the push. I'm gonna
this
get that
guy's
as a
getting
sample.
the push that so many people above him deserve.
Well, first off, we have to sit back before we even dive into the Orange Cassidy match that with Cody Rhodes. We have to sit back and relish in the power of the TNT Championship. That any time that Cody Rhodes has it, it scares the color right out of his hair. and he can only be blonde.
I did notice he went blonde again, and good job putting that timeline together. He didn't have the belt, and his hair was black. And all of a sudden, he was like that Crash Test Dummies song where he gets in a car wreck and the color leaves his hair, and he gets the belt and he sings. And,
but yeah, so he went back to blonde for whatever reasons. I could care less. I don't let the hair so much drag me down. It's not that big a deal.
It's just goofy.
It's goofy. Obviously, he did it for the I'm assuming for that game show thing that he was hosting on TBS or something. They must not want him to have the blonde hair. I know he probably keeps it for several reasons. Homage to his old man.
Shows color pretty well.
Shows the blood better, things like that. And he seems to do his old man's deed and slice up that forehead. He wants that Rhodes forehead.
He wants to be able to keep his quarters right there in his hairline. That way he can go to the laundromat.
keep my change in my forehead.
You just hand him a $5 bill and he headbutts you, and there you go. You're all set for laundry.
So yeah, that was interesting. I thought that they could have worked the hair angle, the color into kind of a new persona. It doesn't have to be, as we spoke about previously, it didn't have to be a big heel swerve or this or that, but it could have just been a new persona, a new image, a new and more aggressive Cody. Something, it could have just been a little twist. He still could have been all for AEW and I'd do this for you people, but yeah, I don't know, whatever. So nonetheless, went back to the blonde. And there you go. So this match, I've defended Orange Cassidy. Eric Todd.
You've defended Orange Cassidy. You at one point.
I have defended.
Disclaimer, taking this out of context.
Yes.
I've taken this quote out of context. You, Brian Rampa, compared Orange Cassidy to Shawn Michaels.
Not so many words, but yeah, I still think that I'm not wrong.
Oh, God.
But they're not making me be right.
Next time you watch Orange Cassidy in the ring, just watch him hit the ropes.
He
can't even hit the ropes. I think me and you learned that when we were wrestling at
the Comic-Con.
At the Comic-Con, we knew how to hit the ropes.
This match was not the only thing. I didn't even write this note down just because I said I won't forget it. This just looked like I'm saying this with all due respect, people, a Make-A-Wish match.
What's funny is you say that, and I attest to this, and you'll attest to this. You do not listen to Jim Cornette's podcast.
I do not
at all,
unless I'm riding with you somewhere.
Compares AEW to Make-A-Wish at least once a week out of his 2 shows. Calls it a Make-A-Wish Foundation, in particular for Orange Cassidy and for Marco Stunt.
This one looked like it. In my head, I went, this looks like he won a raffle at a charity auction to have a match with Cody Rhodes, and Cody's like, don't worry, I'll just walk you through it.
Oh, it was clunky. And this takes me back to my original point. Why are they hanging their hat on this guy? Why are they putting all their eggs in his basket when a couple fantasy bookers like you and I can see that Orange Cassidy, he's got some raw talent, but he's not ready yet to be on this level.
Yeah, man. I still think that Orange Cassidy could beat, and I've stated it before, I think he could maybe be a decent wrestler. I think they're just, putting the cart before the horse here on this. So I just don't think it's not the right time, the right moment, but this was terrible. This didn't even make him look like he had a chance. Previous weeks before, I said, hey, this kid's got a chance. He's still young. He can move. He can work pretty good. He can flip and fly. All right, cool. But just, I don't know, man.
So he looks, I'm going to say something that I think is nice for me to be speaking of Orange Cassidy. I think he needs to go to wrestling school. Tony Khan should just keep him on the payroll. Give him 6 months, take him off TV. People will be more than thrilled to see him come back after 6 months. He's over like Rover. But send him to Tom Pritchard's wrestling school for 6 months and then bring him back. And I guarantee you Orange Cassidy would be huge.
Well, I mean,
he's already huge, but you put some actual training behind him.
right.
He looks like he trained himself in his backyard right now.
It didn't even look like that last night.
With no fundamentals behind him and no formal training to allow him to push Cody Rhodes, somebody with Cody Rhodes' talent and level of hierarchy in the business, to allow Orange Cassidy to push him the entire 20 minutes and get like 15 near falls before going to a draw on a 2 count. It was just absurd.
I agree. This was and then again you could see this whole they're going to go the limit. They're going to go the limit.
You could see that coming from a mile away.
You kept hearing the announcement, 10 minutes remaining. 20 minutes, 20 seconds, and you're going, oh, here we go. And it was right there at the very end. But yeah, I thought this thing looked terrible. I just didn't like any of that. I can't pick out one spot. The whole thing, it just looked like Cody. It looked like a wrestling school match. So it looked like they were going at like half speed. So it looked like Cody would go in. He's like, yeah, don't worry about it, man. Just go ahead. Yep. Was going to go ahead and do that. Yeah. And then when I do that, boom, 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 we hit a DDT. All right, cool. Let's stand up. Let's hit the ropes again. Like they were kind of running drills, and they were just kind of like going slow and just talking their way through it.
And I think Cody is lucky that he walked out of this ring after taking that Michinoku driver, because that thing was so sloppy.
Well,
I thought Cody was going to break his neck on that, because Cassidy, he's not strong, and not to completely shit on Orange Cassidy, but just look at his arms. He has no business doing a Michinoku driver on Cody Rhodes.
Speaking of the Michinoku driver, then you hear JR and Tony Schiavone or Excalibur, all three of them chime in. Taka Michinoku smiling somewhere. He's not dead. He's in Japan. He wrestles for New Japan Pro Wrestling like every week, or manages at minimum. Sometimes he gets involved in the matches. He's still very active in the wrestling world. He's doing fairly well. He looks very healthy, and you could have just gave a shout out to him in Japan, like somebody send it. But he's smiling somewhere, wherever he is.
And wherever he is, I find
Japan.
it hard to believe that he's tuning into TNT on Wednesday nights.
He's in
Who knows? He might be. He might have the Sling app.
Yeah, it's like, guys, it's Japan. Sure, it's the morning. I'm sure he's not. He's probably doing whatever he needs to do. He might be sleeping, but.
But you mentioned JR, and you mentioned Schiavone and Excalibur, obviously. Now, one thing, I listened to a recent podcast with Conrad Thompson and JR, and it's fun to see JR contradict himself when he's working for Tony Khan or when he's working for himself and Conrad, because he straight up says on his podcast that in order for wrestlers to get better, there's 2 things you have to do. You have to work multiple times a week, and you have to work with talent that's better than you. And he straight up says that most of the roster in AEW are in trouble or are suffering because they all only work once a week, and they're all on equal playing ground for the most part. You have your talented people in there, but they're not working with them multiple times a week. So they almost need a wrestling school built in, and hell, pay FTR, pay Cody, pay even Luther. I'm sure Luther's got some knowledge. His old flabby body just can't handle it anymore. Pay them to do some formal training. You got Arn Anderson and Tully Blanchard, for Christ's sake.
Right.
Pay them to do some training 3 times a week and these guys will start to get better, but they're not going to get any better working once a week on TV.
On TV. I mean, that ring just sits there in Daly's place. Like, what are you guys doing on, Thursday morning?
Right.
What are you
Why
doing?
not make these guys do classes?
Why don't they do a Tuesday, run Wednesday TV, and run Thursday recap of what went wrong Wednesday TV? Tuesday practice, Wednesday show, Thursday recap.
Treat it like a basketball team or a football team. Watch film. Just like you said, what went wrong? Watch film on it and be like, all right, guys, we're hitting the ropes today for 6 hours. We're going to do drop downs for 6 hours. We're taking flat back bumps for 6 hours. You guys want to do 30 topes in a match? We're doing topes for 6 hours.
Like, figure it out. I'm with you. It people want to talk shit about WWE, but I can talk shit about other things. What I don't like about WWE is not the wrestling.
The only thing about WWE is they're all very, very well-trained wrestlers, but they're all trained by the same people, by the same team.
Yeah.
You
So
know,
everybody's
back
got
in
that
the
same
old
flavor.
days, you had with the different territories, you had like a Lawler style. You had the New York style. You had the Mid-South style.
Yes.
You had the AWA
Your
style.
Florida, your Texas,
Vern Gagne, you know.
the Von Erichs, all these guys
Yeah.
that made their name, and then and then Flair, and then
Right,
Ric
and they
Flair.
all trained in their different ways. That way, their students, I use with loose quotes because they just kind of ran through the territories. They gave different styles. Where WWE, if you look at it under a microscope, you can see they've all been trained by the same team.
Right. So, but the wrestling looks smooth and easy, right? And
Right, it's fluid, especially compared to AEW. NXT looks rough sometimes, but you play it side by side with the Orange Cassidy Cody Rhodes match, and it's like, yeesh.
yeah, and all of that, ladies and gentlemen, led us back to. We'll come back to this Cody Rhodes match because we hated it so much. We went and started talking about getting trained and going through the territories.
Yeah, the train got derailed, but choo-choo, we're back on it. Cassidy got Cody in a mousetrap.
Yeah, that's it. This match sucked. Cody did what he could with what he had. I can't fault Cody, but the stupid spots. I don't like the hands in the pocket thing has taken a turn where I don't like it anymore. I thought it was funny. I don't like it anymore because now it's like his Hulk up. To me, that's
Right.
not what it originally was. That's not what I took it as. I took it as I'm bored.
That's how you always explained it. Like,
Why am I going to
he's
try?
just-
Whatever. It's so easy.
No need
But
to
now he's in
try.
like a Cody was behind him and had him in a bear hug type half Nelson. I don't know what it was. I can't remember the exact move. Work with me, people. Go back and watch it if you want the exact thing. But Cassidy weasels his hands into his pockets, and by putting his hands into his pockets, he can break the hold. Well, this isn't work with me. Like,
right. We all know Orange Cassidy's a comedy character, and he works a goofy style. But something to that effect makes no sense whatsoever. 0%.
That he's able
negative sense.
to break a hold by putting his hands in. And then Cody is a nationally ranked. I don't know if he did college wrestling, but I know at least in high school, like huge in the that amateur college style, whatever Olympic style wrestling.
Right. Cody could stretch either one of us anytime he wanted. He could stretch anybody on the AEW roster and tie him up like a pretzel.
But here he is, like getting outworked in these like sprawls and these takedowns and these holds by Orange Cassidy.
A glorified backyard wrestler.
And not even saying Cassidy can't wrestle like that. I don't know. But what I do know is I know the story of Cody Rhodes. And I know Cody was huge into wrestling through high school and all that stuff. Won major tournaments, was like the star of the school in his wrestling. Cool. We know that story, so he's good at it. We don't think that of Orange Cassidy. Don't make him good this week at that.
And that just let's back go round in a circle to the original point. That's who Orange Cassidy is. Whether he's good at wrestling or not, according to storyline, he's not. He's just some guy who can
Whatever.
put his hands in his pockets and whatever, man. I can do a move. I can do a high spot here and there. And every superstar he wrestles, he pushes to the absolute limit and either wins or barely loses.
Yeah. And I'm losing more and more faith in the whole situation as it is. So Eric, I side with you. This match was a piece of shit, and I think we can just move on from it. It ended in a draw.
Yes, ended in a draw, and we get an announcement later on in the show that in 2 weeks we get to see the exact same match again.
Yes, we do. All right.
If that wasn't enough, that 19 minutes and 59 seconds of pure action wasn't enough, just wait 2 weeks, fellas. We get to see it all over again.
Yes. Guys, if you're listening on YouTube, if you are checking us out, been shared this thing, check us out, subscribe, like, and follow us on all social media platforms, and check out our podcast is on Spotify and on Apple Podcast and Google and about 15 other places. So, but those are the big ones to talk about. So just get a little plug out the way as we continue moving on.
To get the complete list of where you can catch our show, go to anchor.fm/thekayfabesmark.
Yes.
And all your listening options are there. I prefer Spotify because I can get on there and listen to a certain 100 millionaire who just signed a deal with Spotify. But yeah, Spotify, Apple Music are our top two, but
and check
wherever
us out.
you want to listen to.
Like, subscribe on YouTube as well, building up that following. We're going to try to do these live and be a little more interactive on that. But we move on to another backstage segment of Jon Moxley returning the favor to Lance Archer, and they are just can't keep their hands off each other, Eric.
They hate each other so much.
So mad at you. Grr.
What's up with Lance Archer's little blonde streak and his murder hawk? It's not so murdery anymore. It's like a Barbie hawk.
COVID. He almost had the TNT championship, and so
that's right.
It comes with a box of bleach.
He touched it,
and
his hair went gold.
It happens. You got to be careful with that. We move on to Matt Hardy's awkward segment.
Yeah, guess who's back? Back again. Hardy's back. Tell your friends.
Tell your friends. I wasn't mad that Hardy is back. That's fine. I wasn't mad at the Sammy Guevara thing. That was fine. It was kind of cool and interesting.
I thought it was kind of weird because let's dig into it a little bit. Did Sammy Guevara get on the Walgreens app and get posters of Matt Hardy made up and go pick them up in 1 hour from Walgreens so that he could hang them in a weird part of the arena with candles lit?
Well, see, I took it that wasn't live. I just took it that was a preset package that Guevara had ready to go.
Yeah, but I'm saying, where did he get these giant pictures of Matt Hardy from?
He did it like last Tuesday.
He's been planning this ritual.
Yeah, he does it all the time. I let that go. That part didn't bug me so much. That's wrestling. It was the putting the two pieces of the puzzle together was like the awkward part to me. It was like Matt Hardy talking, and then the vignette started to play, but I don't think they gave Hardy the input that that something else was happening. So he like kind of talked through part of the segment when the pictures were coming up on the TV screen, and then they caught on fire and everything, and then he decided to watch. It wasn't put together well.
Clunky.
Yes, it was really just crammed together, and that was the part that I didn't like. But other than that, so we're going to see them go at it again, it sounds like. See a little feud working their way out between the Sammy Guevara and Matthew Hardy. The thing with AEW that kind of bugged me this week was it was like there was two Sammy Guevaras.
That's a good point. I didn't really notice that.
Just trying to put it into perspective. There was two Sammy Guevaras. There was Sammy Guevara with the giant jacket who was mad at Daddy and flapped his hands. Just mad. I'm just a mad boy, and I got to stand in the back of the inner circle. And then there was creepy Sammy Guevara who was like, "Hey, Matt, I'm the one that fucked you up, and I'm going to murder you again."
Let's not forget that a half an hour ago you were just throwing a hissy fit in the ring.
It's, again, just little things like that. I don't know if they think that it's not going to get caught, they don't care, or they don't see it. I'm not sure which one it is. A little bit of both, a little bit of all three. So I'll be happy to see it. I'm Sammy Guevara. Mark, I'm all in on Sammy.
I like Sammy, but they're just, I don't know what the writing team or whatever, he's writing his own shit. I like him in the ring, and I like his attitude, and I like his snarky,
Right.
snarky demeanor towards his opponents, but it's just his character or dual characters in the same show. I don't know. Maybe Hardy came back earlier than expected, and they just had to merge the storylines. Who the hell knows?
Surprised him last night. Hardy's like, "Oh yeah, guys, I'm gonna bring it to me at the top of the second hour. There, I got an announcement to tell you. I'm back. Oh, what? Throw together a package. And then they did this. So that went on, and then it happened, and then he yelled at him, Hardy, "Did you know about this?" I didn't know about it, and it was dumb.
Oh yeah. So for you who don't know at home, Sammy full on admitted he's the one who took out Hardy's knee.
Oh yeah. Forgot about that part.
So yeah.
Probably because I didn't care.
So everybody thought it was Jericho, this 6 foot tall, muscular, chubby guy, but it turns out it was the 5'9" skinny Latino kid
without a bat.
Yeah,
Silly.
I always get them two mixed up.
I thought that they should have I thought Hardy should have actually left TV.
He should have.
He came out after he got hurt, and he made the announcement, and his wife clapped, and they had their baby, and he said he's going to go home and get better. And that was...
He never went home.
Fucker never went home. Then next week he was on TV, and he got his knee busted. Then he went out with his knee busted, and then now this week he's better. Sure, he didn't wrestle. He could have taken the knee bump. Okay, I had to give him the following week for the knee bump, and then that was like, okay, his head hurt and his knee got hit, and then he went home. Like when Bald Buck took the door to the thing because he was having a baby. His wife's having a baby. They slammed the garage door on his head, and he disappeared for a few weeks. He went home to be with his family, having a kid. Okay, fine. Write him off TV.
I don't know if Hardy just thinks he's that important to the show, but the show wouldn't have suffered if he took a couple weeks off. Hell, if you really want to be involved, film some shit at home. That's what you did on YouTube for years.
Yeah, you did just fine with that. Go disappear, make some vignettes, tease it, come up with a new character.
Yeah, you got 47. What's wrong with 48?
Yeah, do something, change it somehow, and come back and surprise the world and come back at a match that's appropriate, and there you go. Well, again, what do we know, Eric? What do we know?
Hindsight is 20/20, Brian.
It is. I wish they would just take one of those 20s. All right, so then we have the Fatal 4-Way Tag Team match set up for next week.
Yeah, we get the big announcement with the bingo ball roller in the middle of the ring and a few teams scattered about. We're going to see who is going to be in this 4-way tag team tag match thing.
Because it wouldn't be an AEW show without 47 guys standing on the outside of the ring, not knowing what team they're on.
You need a shit show for a proper AEW show.
First team that is revealed, Private Party. Private Party. There you go.
They're another ones who are just getting way too many opportunities for their talent level.
The second, Dark Order. I'm not sure which members of Dark Order. It just says,
I rewound it just so I could write it down.
Sure, go ahead. Fill me in.
Silver and Reynolds.
Oh, who cares? Jeez.
So John Silver, again, they're pushing the shit out of him. And I don't know who Reynolds is. They need to push that 10 guy. He's the one who actually had a vignette of him playing football and whatnot.
Yeah, and
maybe that is 10. I don't know.
I don't remember either. And then the Butcher and the Blade get drawn. And then finally, the fourth team vying for the AEW Tag Team titles on Dynamite.
Nobody saw this coming.
Nobody. I didn't even see it coming.
No, I couldn't see it.
And the Young Bucks, ladies and gentlemen. The Young Bucks were drawn, and they came out, and they told Tony Schiavone to hit the bricks. They're not giving him a super kick this week. They weren't here to super kick him. We're here to super kick these guys. Basically, that just meant everybody.
Right. They super kicked one of the Dark Order guys and one of the Butcher and the Blade guys. I don't remember which ones.
And then cleared out the ring, and then it was them and Private Party, who they've kind of had respect for in the years, and then they turned around and gave them a kick to the chops. Thanks for
Super
coming.
kick them too. Yep. Thanks for your time. Get out of the ring. Don't forget, the Bucks are heels.
The Bucks are heels.
It's almost like AEW is trying. You know, we spoke about before how Orange Cassidy was almost like a fuck you to the wrestling business.
Yeah.
It's almost like they're doing the opposite of what is traditionally done purposely, because clearly everybody wants to see, and they're working towards FTR versus Young Bucks. And they had it perfectly set up with the Bucks being baby faces and FTR being heels, but they're turning the Bucks heel. That way we deliberately have a heel versus heel buildup. It just, why fuck with something? Why tinker with something when it would have worked so well to have everybody just adoring and bowing down to the Young Bucks and loving the Young Bucks per usual and hating the hell out of FTR, which is exactly what they want. Now we're forced to like a heel team. You know, you got heel versus heel and you got to cheer for somebody. So it's like, that's not the way this works. Why are we jacking up the system?
Or you don't cheer for anybody because nobody tunes in to watch it.
Right.
Because they have nothing vested in the situation. And that's what I fear. I know what they're kind of going. I mean, I can't say I don't know what they're going for, but I would think maybe they're going for that how would you say it here? That anti-hero type thing, the old Stone Cold Steve Austin anti-hero. He was the good guy, but he was the bad guy, but he was so good that he was bad. So then he got over so much that he's kind of the good guy.
Right.
But
he's supposed to be a heel, but he's beating up somebody who's more of a heel, so that
and the crowd loved
him. Yeah.
So, but I don't know. We'll see. Anyways, so yeah,
I've been informed. I don't know if I mentioned this last week, but with the passing of Joe Laurinaitis, we are no longer to call Matt Jackson, no longer to call him Road Warrior Buck anymore.
No.
But since he doesn't sell and everything's about him and he likes to hulk up in the ring, his name is now Buck Hogan.
Buck.
So now we got Balding Buck and Buck Hogan.
We continue on AEW World Women's Championship.
Yeah, we continue on
Sheeta and Swole.
I tried to watch it.
I didn't.
I wasn't very good. I wasn't very successful.
I wasn't good at it. I need practice.
I don't know. I must have some muscular disease in my thumbs, and it was just mashing the fast forward button.
Yeah. Sheeta wins. She remains your tag team champion. And then the man, the myth, the legend that is putting this company on his back and taking it for a ride, Eddie Kingston. I don't know about all that, but nonetheless, he is he's pretty good. I do like Eddie Kingston. I think he could be pretty good, but I don't think
you said putting the company on his back. I thought you said putting the company on its back.
Oh no, putting the company on his back. I don't really think necessarily all of that, but nonetheless, I do really like Eddie Kingston, and I think he can be a very good thing for this company used the right way.
Yes,
he seems like a
promo class.
He seems like a big enough prick that if it doesn't go his way, that if it's not right for him, that he'll just hit the bricks.
Right. He's probably on a day-to-day contract.
Because now his independent rate just went up through the roof. So now he's now
right.
if he gets cut, he's like, I'm Eddie Kingston from AEW. Like, people know who I am. I'm gonna cut a promo on a cookie in your ring. People are gonna pay $15 to see me. Like, go fish, kid. I'm gonna do. This is what I get. So, anyways, yeah, Eddie Kingston comes out with the Lucha Bros, and there you go. And then they stand back there and do a little commentary during the no DQ match for the AEW World Championship title with Jon Moxley and Lance Archer. It's the only thing that I can give these backstage segments where they kept beating each other up is that officially they said Tony Khan made the decision. This is a no disqualification match. Perfect.
Right.
Because it was going to be anyways.
That's what I was going to say. No matter what, this was going to be an outside the ring, no DQ, weapons anywhere match. At least they put a little reasoning behind it.
And the funny thing is, they didn't even do it to the extent that they could because they could. They stayed kind of more in the ring.
Yeah, I've seen normal Moxley matches that have been more hardcore,
That's what
no
I'm saying.
DQ than this one.
So you had a table spot. Well, it took place before the 10 count. We clearly don't care about table spots as long as you get back in the ring before the 10 count. And that's even loosely used sometimes. And then a garbage can hit to the dome. All right, so you just have the ref not see it. It wasn't that big of no DQ. They did make sure the rope breaks were good. So there was one point where he had him Moxley had him in like a heel hook or some type of leg lock, knee lock, and he couldn't. He went to grab the ropes, and the ref's like, "It's no DQ." And then Jake kind of pulled him, and he rolled out of the ring, which was whatever. I hate when they have a no DQ match and the ref gets confused and starts like calling for a 5 count on a rope break or something.
Oh God, we've always talked about that in all no DQ matches. Like, what are you doing? Why are you doing a 5 count? Why are you warning him for using a closed fist?
Yeah,
you
why
just hit
even
him with a fucking kendo stick?
This was Paul Turner's match. Like, put Paul Turner. Why did Paul Turner ref this match? I forget. I don't remember who did. If it wasn't, it should have been because he could have just stood there in the corner and then eventually counted the 3.
He could have put his sleep mask on and took a nap, and he would have been just as effective.
Exactly. What do you think of the match? Where you at on it?
It was what it was.
It was a no DQ match on AEW TV.
This is Moxley's wheelhouse, and so he did what he does, and he worked well in it. We got to see Lance Archer's power on exhibit, just throwing Mox around like a rag doll at some points. My main gripe with this match is that finishers, it just puts the exclamation point on it that finishers mean nothing. We saw 500 finishers, and every single one of them got kicked out. We didn't even win with a finisher.
Nope. Didn't win with a finisher.
We won with a half-ass backslide roll-up schoolboy thing.
Yeah, crucifix type pin. It was nonetheless. Yeah. There were some cool spots, the table spot on the outside of the ring, everything else. Personally, what I liked most about the match, and it had nothing to do with the match, I liked Eddie Kingston on commentary. I thought he was great.
He did fantastic on commentary.
I thought he was great on commentary. The way that he's like, what do you say? He goes, "Would you have a relationship with Lance Archer?" He goes, "I wouldn't call it a relationship." Like, I just love that quote. He's like, "Shut up, Shivani." He was just so mean to the commentators, and it was perfect to the character. He didn't change who he was. He was just Eddie Kingston. And I'm all in with Eddie. I like Eddie Kingston a lot. I'm not sure how he can wrestle. He's, been around the game, beat up a little bit. Not sure if he can hold on and go these 10, 5-star matches. But nonetheless, this character and his talking are great.
I agree.
We're
agree. In agreement on that one. And,
I agree. Two guys agreeing on the internet. Always fun to listen to, isn't it, people?
I really don't have much notes because this match was exactly what we anticipated. It was Mox's specialty. I'm glad to see Archer back. Looked like he lost a little muscle mass. I guess COVID-19 to do that to you. But he's still strong as an ox. And
Moxley
mean nothing.
Moxley steals the win, if you will. Looks like he should have lost. He does a quick rollover into that pin and then wins it. And then
Archer hit him with the blackout, which the blackout is an impressive finisher, and it should knock anyone out who he gives it to. But he gives the blackout to Jon Moxley. Moxley turns it into a backslide crucifix pin thing.
Yeah, and that's it. The part that again, then this happened. Then AEW happened.
Right. Let the confusion begin, folks.
So now the match happens. Moxley is still your champion. He steals the pin. Archer stands up. Moxley stands up and boom, gives him a boot to the grill and just puts him down. And you're going, why didn't you do that in the match?
You silly
You
goose.
silly goose. If you got such a devastating boot game, I'd be throwing that boot like every 30 seconds.
Right. Call it the brogue kick.
You know what I'm saying? And then, where are we at here? And then Kingston, he's on top of him. He's beating him up, blah, blah, blah. Kingston says, go down and help him. Go down and help him. And then the guys go down and mollywop the back of Lance Archer.
Yeah, and it's like, oh my goodness, what's going on here?
So then Lance Archer just dips. He's like, fuck it. I lost. There's 3 of you guys, 1 of me. Clearly you're willing to hit me or anybody in the way, so he just waves his hands at him and steps out. At least the commentators helped sell that, in my opinion, that they helped sell that because they said, like, basically what I just said. There's 3 of them, 1 of him. It's not worth the fight. He's out of here. He's just stay healthy and fight another day, blah, 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 you know. So at least they helped sell the fact that he walked away from that and didn't stay there and put boots to people. But the boot to the face, why weren't you swinging that all day? Number 2, why are they hitting Archer? That didn't make any sense to me. Just to get him out of the ring so they could do their spot.
Apparently.
Just go down and tap him on the shoulder and ask nicely to leave. Mr. Archer, sir, can we play now? And then obviously the overacting was overacting from Eddie Kingston. We've talked about overacting tonight, but it was a lay it on thick for a reason, and you could see it coming, which was fine for me. I'm not mad at that type of overacting.
Yeah, I would have preferred to be surprised. Like maybe think, oh, maybe, Kingston could join forces with Mox, which would be a stretch for anyone to start to believe, but at least attempt it, I guess. The whole time, since Kingston opens his mouth and embraces Mox with his arm on his shoulder, you knew he was going to turn on him and fuck him up.
Yeah, which was fine to me. I knew it was coming, and then I just love the ending of it, too. So he's beating him up, and he puts him in that choke and blah, 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 but then you just hear JR, all right, Eddie, okay, we got to go. It's coming up next. Then the movie It starts. But it was just like the way that it happened. He's just like yelling at Eddie. All right, Eddie. Well, I don't know what you need, but we got to go. That part made me laugh. But it was, I don't know if they're going to stretch and put for these guys to have a championship match. I'm not sure where they're going with this thing here, but I don't mind. I don't necessarily hate it. I don't love it, but I don't hate it.
I don't know. I don't see Kingston in the championship picture at all. But again, we also wouldn't see Orange Cassidy in a championship picture.
At least I can buy Eddie Kingston taking on Jon Moxley.
Yeah, it's just when he's in his wrestling gear and he's got that round gut, and it's just, I don't know. He looks like he's in worse shape than Orange Cassidy, so I can't really buy Kingston being a champion. I couldn't look at him wearing that belt and be like, yeah, that's our champion. That's our world champion.
Well, valid points there, my friend. And then that locks up your show, right?
Yeah, that's a wrap on AEW.
It was a weird show for being your anniversary show. And by that, like, nothing was really set up, but nothing was also finished. It just all kind of existed.
I think maybe we should have pulled some special guests.
Yeah, I don't know.
You and I attended All In a few months after they announced that AEW was going to be a thing.
Yeah.
And there were special guests there. They could have pulled somebody.
Put something together.
The era, if you will, even though it was only a year ago. But
like, you didn't even know, like, what the point of Eddie Kingston fighting and making Lance Archer go away, because remember they were going to be join forces and a few months ago or a few weeks ago, and they were going to help take down Moxley, and now they don't like him no more. Is he trying to get a fight?
You're just making the point more valid that nothing makes sense, and there's no point in remembering anything from 2 weeks ago because it's just going to change.
The Matt Hardy, Sammy Guevara, eventually they're going to fight. There was no idea of, like, in 2 weeks at our next pay-per-view I'm just coming for you. All right, cool.
So yeah, Sammy.
I'll keep my
accidentally
calendar
almost-
clear.
Sammy almost gets manslaughter charges twice, like within a month, and so we're like, okay, we're done with that feud. We're not gonna have these two in the ring anymore. And oh look, it's a new feud. Sammy Guevara and Matt Hardy. Let's start this all over again. It's like,
Yeah.
oh,
I mean, the only thing that like made sense was the tag team match. Was your FTR and the Best Friends. They had the match. There was a defined winner and a defined loser, and we're moving on to who gets to fight. You know what I'm saying? Like, all the rest of it didn't make any sense. Miro was mad his video game got broken, so he beat up a jobber that didn't break his video game. Just, I don't know. So we'll see what happens. We'll move on. That was your AEW wrap up, folks. And
moving on to NXT.
NXT.
There was a special sort of episode too, wasn't it? Was it like an anniversary or how was there?
Followed by
I don't think this was just a regular show.
I don't know. I thought it was just a regular show.
No.
Well, it has to be coming up on their year for being on Wednesday nights and doing the whole thing because they fired that off right with AEW, so maybe they made mention of that. But anyways, we kick it off. Bobby Fish, Roderick Strong taking on Danny Burch, Oni Lorcan.
This is the number 1 contender match.
Yes. Well, the fact, first off, when Fandango and Tyler Breeze came out and sat up on the ramp like they were like somebody to be reckoned with.
Right.
I couldn't buy it. Like, we're just going to sit here and just taunt the match. It's like, I don't know. That was weird and didn't make sense because they're not big. They're not scary. They're not anything. Bobby Fish, Roderick Strong. Man, I was all in. I'm all in with those guys, and I was glad to, we'll just kind of skip through it. Not skip through it here, but just kind of jump to the ending, unfortunately. I was so happy that they won because I like them as a tag team.
We're almost getting a resurgence, if you will, of the Undisputed Era. Adam Cole, is he injured in real life or just storyline?
You know what? I was going to do a little bit of research on that, and I didn't stir anything up. I think I'm going to take a wild guess that he's just taking some time off. But
yeah, so with Adam Cole on the shelf, kayfabe or not, Undisputed Era is taking this chance, and they're kind of re-emerging and reasserting themselves. And Bobby Fish and Roderick Strong did a fantastic job tonight. This match was a great way to open. There's a lot of talent in that ring.
Yeah, I love the Undisputed Era, the guys in the Undisputed Era, the way that faction is handled. Love every bit of it. Taking nothing away from Oni Lorcan and
Danny Burch.
Danny Burch had a brain fart there. But yeah, taking nothing away from them, great workers. I love the Undisputed Era, but all of it was good. It was a good, fun, entertaining match to watch and a good way to open up the show to make you kind of hook you in a little bit.
Yeah, a lot of back and forth, a lot of submissions and wrestling going on, but Undisputed Era ultimately gets the victory when Roderick Strong gets the pin on Oni Lorcan with that leaping knee boy.
Yes, I just did a quick search trying to find up something here and just stirring up the kayfabe news of that he's got broken ribs, so they're just sticking with it. Maybe he did injure his ribs. Maybe he's just taking some time off. Maybe he had broken ribs, and this is a way to say that he has broken ribs. Is the kayfabe some broken ribs. Nonetheless, he's chilling, and we're going to move on from Danny Burch, Oni Lorcan. Easy for me to say. Oni Lorcan. Orky Loki. So then they win, and then we move on to that. So now we're going to get Fandango, Tyler Breeze, and then the Undisputed Era at Halloween Havoc? I don't remember.
I believe so, yeah.
NXT Championship. Yeah. I missed when it was. But nonetheless, they get the number 1 contender spot. I would think they'd be using that at Halloween Havoc. Anything else seems like it'd be goofy. But we've seen goofy shit before. Then you get this Ashanti, Adonis, and Jake Atlas match. I mean, we went from this 4 guys in the ring that were schooling the game to Ashanti Donis.
Ashanti, maybe I'm showing my age here, but when I hear Ashanti, I just think of 90s R&B singer.
Murder Inc.
But anyway, we've got Ashanti Adonis and Jake Atlas. Apparently, what I gathered from the commentary here, because I'm not the biggest 205 Live fan, Adonis has been making big noise on 205 Live.
Does 205 Live still exist, or he made big noise on 205 Live?
Maybe he made. I don't know. Whatever Beth Phoenix said.
Probably made. I think they cut that, but anyways. And then
he looked good.
That was the guy that got. Remember last week when we were confused on the guy that got interfered in the swerve match on Takeover
was
30?
That Adrian Adonis?
It was Adrian Adonis. Ashanti Adonis got involved and helped out Swerve. That's why Isaiah Swerve came out at the end of this match and helped him out when were getting involved.
When Phantasmo came out.
Yeah, when Phantasmo. This match was.
I want to see Fandango and No, we've seen that enough.
Yeah. Wait a minute. We've seen that 58 times. Yeah. You just want to hear him say it. Phantasmo, Fandango,
Fandango, Phantasma.
Phantasma Dingo. Maybe
but anyway, Adrian Adonis gets distracted when two members of Phantasma comes out. Jake Atlas takes full advantage of that, throws old Adonis into a small package, and wraps him up for the 1, 2, 3, and then the action begins. Yeah, because it wasn't much of a match.
No, it was fine. It was just two young kids kind of getting their couple minutes of TV time and whatever. We'll see what happens, and then
so yeah, Phantasmo attack Adonis after the match.
Yeah.
And good sport wrestling here. Jake Atlas pays Phantasma by hitting him with a tope suicida. And then we get Pablo Escobar coming out. And so you've got all three members of Phantasma on one end, and then you got Ashanti Adonis and Jake Atlas on one. And who joins them, Brian Rampa, to complete the threesome?
Isaiah Swerve Scott.
Swerve.
So yes, I'm a fan of Swerve. I talked about it last week. I just hope that he can keep the
yeah, he's a little
gimmick,
green, but he's got a lot of potential.
Keep the gimmick rolling. So I'm happy to see him and getting some TV time. Maybe this Ashanti Adonis. I just can't get over the name. Austin Theory, Johnny Gargano is your next contest, isn't it?
Yeah. Johnny Gargano, Austin Theory. What was there any stipulation on this one? I don't think so. I just think these guys are fighting.
I just think they were mad at each other. They're just mad, just gonna fight. Gargano being a stinky shit heel and doing stinky shit heel stuff. I thought this was a pretty good match. These two can wrestle.
Oh yeah, for sure. And Austin Theory.
They can sports entertain.
Austin Theory's kind of on the come up, isn't he?
Yes.
He hasn't been around for too long.
Not too long. He bounced around the independent stuff or whatever, but yeah, he's getting his 15 minutes here in the semi big times.
I thought either he's good or Gargano made him look good, but this match was great, competitive. They worked well together. It's very fluid. You can tell these guys are highly trained individuals. If you stuck them over on the TNT show, they'd stick out like a sore thumb.
People that know what they're doing. Yeah, I loved I can't say I loved it. I just enjoyed this match. I just sat back and watched a good wrestling match. Didn't have any real reason of why they were fighting. Sometimes that helps bring me more into a match, but I was able to put that in the past, put that behind me and just sit back and watch two guys wrestle. So I got down with that. What was what happened next? Where we at here?
Johnny Gargano ends up beating him.
Yes,
which we all saw that coming.
Essentially saw that coming because Gargano's on that, creeping on his come up. So
right. And then we end up backstage or in the gym area of the the facility, and we got Raquel Gonzalez. She's calling out Rhea Ripley. She wants a match at Halloween Havoc.
Halloween Havoc.
And Rhea Ripley is happy to oblige. That will be a match at Halloween Havoc. For a girls match, I'm excited about this one.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna fast forward this one because I like both of these girls. They're both hell of workers, and everyone knows I got a crush on Rhea Ripley. So yeah, I'm kind of pumped to see that match. They involve all the referees and security team and whoever the hell is working that facility to keep them apart because they just want to rip each other's head off in this little backstage segment.
Yes. Did you see the backstage segment with Ciampa when he's watching the replay of that match against Kushida?
Oh shit! No, what happened with that?
He just says he's dead and he's
Oh,
all walk. He was just kind of like mad about the situation that he got kind of the bone on his match. So I think he's going to take it up with Velveteen Dream. I think they're going to push into a.
Oh yeah, I did.
It was a quick.
I glanced over that where he kind of saw Velveteen get involved in the match and
blowing his chances, and then
says that Velveteen he's dead is towards Velveteen, right?
It's what it seems to be, kind of leading you to believe.
So we get to see more Prince screeching and selling, especially with Ciampa. Ciampa's gonna beat the shit out of him.
I do like Ciampa, so I'm happy to see that. And then Eric's favorite, Shotzi Blackheart, Candice LeRae, two of the ultimates of NXT.
I saw the tank and I was like, oh no.
I liked the tank for about the first time.
The tank is NXT's pockets. Where it's like, all right, guys, we get it.
All right, I get it. It's fucking tank. Jesus. Somebody get a new gimmick.
We don't need Power Wheels every single week.
That would be like back in the, not even the day, just back whenever, a couple years ago, whatever, of Finn Balor painting up like the Demon every match. She should just ride it out for the takeovers. At minimum. The big match.
Deal of it. To make it your entrance every single week. It's just like,
oh, cool. Here it is again. That'd be like the Road Warriors riding out on that motorcycle. The motorcycle like from SummerSlam back in like 91 or 90, whatever it was in Wembley Stadium. And you're going, that would have been cool, but they did it every single week. That's not cool anymore.
Speaking of motorcycles, did Taker ride his motor when he was American Badass? Taker?
Yeah, and
did he ride a bike every single week?
Pretty close, and it was boring as shit.
Yeah, it was like, oh great, another bike.
Okay,
he went to Hertz and rented another one.
We get it. You got a motorcycle. Enough about the motorcycle. I didn't watch this match. Did you watch this match? 'Cause I didn't care about this match.
I popped in every 2 or 3 minutes or so just to see what's going on.
Every four bumps of the 15
Shotzi
second.
can wrestle and LeRae can wrestle, but I just can't bring myself to care about either one of them. And Candice LeRae has been leaving a bad taste in my mouth with the whole shit with her husband and the reality show, and it's just like, ugh, like enough of that. I'm done. But this is another important match. This is for the number 1 contender to fight Io Shirai at Halloween Havoc. And
there you go.
LeRae wins with the dirty heel tactic, just like her husband.
Yup.
The brass knucks to the dome piece.
Brass knucks to the dome piece, put the fist behind your back, and call it a day. I didn't do nothing. And then we go right to another women's match.
Are you talking about Drake Maverick?
Oh, no, I'm sorry.
Oh, no. I was just joking.
Where's that one come in at? Was that next?
Well, no, you had Drake Maverick backstage with Killian Dane trying to pitch him on an official tag team. He's trying to sell him on merchandise with the silly drawings, which I thought this was kind of funny and goofy. Got the drawings of Killian Dane with a shirt on that's too small and his big hairy belly hanging out.
And then last week they had the funny piano music that like Drake thought was hilarious and that Killian Dane hated. So like, I like that stuff. I think it's funny putting those two that don't mesh well together.
And Drake pitches a team name for him of the Furry and the Fury, and I thought that was kind of goofy, kind of silly and funny. Because Killian Dane took offense to being called the Furry.
I think
I would too.
If there's people there's got to be people that listen and say, these guys hate the funny, they like the funny, they hate the funny. I want natural funny. Don't force me funny. Don't force me goofy. Just let it happen. These two as a tag team are goofy, but they work well together. And it works for whatever reason, but they're letting it just kind of happen.
Well, it's like a big brother, little brother dynamic that's actually believable.
And, because, well, for one, Drake Maverick can wrestle. He can move. He's very fast and explosive, but he's not big.
Right.
And they make up on each other's flaws or whatever on the ups and downs of each other there. So, but
I think it comes down to believability. I could see these two. I could see Dillian Kane or Killian Dane.
It sounded right in my head, but I knew it was wrong.
I could see him little brothering Drake Maverick because Drake Maverick is a little brother essentially. He's
like the runt of like the that's what they called him in TNA, but Spike Dudley.
Right. So I could see Killian Dane little brothering him and kind of just pushing him to the side, and Drake Maverick bugging him and come on, we can do this. We're a team. It's believable, and that's where the line is drawn on the goofy shit. I'll never believe a guy can hulk up by sticking his hands in his pockets.
Right. And that's why I like. Right. We'll just leave it at that. Right. So what was the next match though?
Next match was Aaliyah versus
Toni Storm. She's
And
back.
Toni Storm's making her comeback.
Did you know she left?
I didn't know she left.
Did you know she was? I didn't know she was ever there. Not even let alone she left. I didn't know she was there to leave. I didn't really watch this one either, Eric.
I didn't watch. It was a squash.
Yeah. And then who even won? Toni Storm.
Yeah, Toni Storm.
And move on. So blah blah blah. Then we get kind of back to where we were already at. The Fabian and Marcel Brothel taking on Killian Dane and Drake Maverick. I like these guys. Again, back to what we were talking about. I like these guys as a tag team. Very quick with Drake Maverick's explosive, fast-paced moves. Killian Dane, not as fast-paced, not as fast, but he can, he's your power guy. It's your Team Hell No, Kane and Daniel Bryan. It's your RVD and Kane, your X-Pac and Kane. It's the teams that aren't supposed to be that happen, and this is another one of those as an example that is going down. And I was digging it. I like them. Imperium is very boring to me, so I don't care for them. I know you were kind of digging them. They're an old-school style NWA wrestling, but I don't care for them too much, but maybe one day they'll grow on me.
Yeah, I wasn't. I think I just got overexcited because I had just watched an FTR match, and then I had saw the Imperial Army here.
The Imperial Walkers. And you're very happy to see something, again, that's similar to the same.
Kind of similar to FTR, but I don't know. The shine kind of wore off, and, it was a decent match, and what is growing on me is the Killian Dane.
Yeah, I like
Drake
the
Maverick.
It's here on
dynamic.
The notes that I have and the website I'm peeping out here just to help me remember what happened as I'm going through it. But they got the tweet from WWE NXT, and it just says, "Nobody hits you but me." Dillian Kane to now you got me saying it. Killian Dane.
Kane. I like Dillian Kane.
Yeah, Killian Dane to Drake Maverick. So he screams at him, "Nobody hits you but me." So like, he's allowed to hit him. It's that big brother, little brother thing. Just like you talk about, you can punch your brother in the head, but if somebody else punches your brother in the head, you're gonna bite him. So, pretty cool.
Well, you put the horse in front of the cart a little bit. So fuck, I can't stop saying Dillian. Killian Dane was waiting for a tag or something to that effect. Got pulled off the ring apron by one of the Imperial boys, and got his head slammed into the staircase to take him out of action, and Marcel Martel gets the pin on Drake Maverick, and then Everrise comes out. I don't know too much about Everrise. Have you seen Everrise too much?
I don't know. Bubkiss.
Yeah, so Everrise comes out to bully Maverick and beat him up, and Dane wakes up from his stupor and beats the shit out of both of those guys, and that's where we get the golden line. Nobody hits you but me.
Right. I I skipped over the part. I just thought that line was funny, just kind of more back to proving that how they work so well together but hate each other.
Right.
So
And the announcer sold it well too. They're like, it's a start, it's a step, baby steps.
Yeah.
You know, and they got excited for it.
And then your main event for the NXT,
For the North American title,
Damian Priest and Dexter Lumis.
yes, the serial killer.
Serial killer, Dexter. This one, just sit back, turn it on, and watch it. I didn't have. I like this match.
Yeah.
I didn't
No complaints on this one. It was a good main event, and it goes back to what we said with. Why am I drawing a blank?
Finn Balor being out.
With Finn Balor on the shelf right now, the North American title needs to kind of pick up and carry the show a little bit, and this was a good way to start.
This was a good way to start. This was it's able to carry the show. Two guys that can do it, or two guys that I wasn't sure if they could do it, but they went out and did it. Becoming a big fan of Damian Priest every week, a little more, becoming a bigger fan, digging his style. Dexter Lumis, don't know much about him. He worked well in this. Wasn't overly... I didn't get too much out of him either way, so I don't know which way they're going with his character, but that was fine with me. I didn't. It wasn't pushed in saying he's this, he's supposed to be that. He's just kind of a big mean guy, is what I take from it, and that's fine. You're in a combat sport, be a big mean guy. And I just liked watching these guys kind of just wrestle and beat each other up. Neither one of them are big, freakishly big, but they're still big guys. So that means they're in that in-between big for me where they can still move. Not scared.
Well, yeah, Damian Priest has that perfect height, that Michael Jordan, that Kobe Bryant height of 6'7", where you can still be super athletic and move, but he's as strong as an ox.
Yeah, same with Dexter Lumis, big solid bitch. He just looks farm boy strong to me. I don't know. He just looks like he's just like, oh no, I'm just kind of strong and I just move things. I just say go back and watch this one. I can't really give you too much on it because I just kind of sat back and watched it and enjoyed it. And then,
well, as a compliment towards Damian Priest, with his deep voice and his demeanor and his intimidation and his physicality, this is a compliment to Priest. This isn't me shitting on Roman Reigns, but I think if you switched their two roles, obviously it wouldn't work if we saw them switch it, but I think if Damian Priest was plugged into Roman Reigns' situation, I think he could handle it just as well. I could see him being the powerhouse bully with Paul Heyman on the WWE shows.
Yes. And then, let me see here. Priest sends face-to-face in the plexiglass, rolls Priest back into the ring. As soon as Lumis is on his feet, Cameron Grimes from out of nowhere with a cave-in on Dexter Lumis on the apron. Yes, and then I forgot Cameron Grimes got involved there. And then
Damian Priest takes advantage of that little help and gives Dexter Lumis the choke slam and gets the 1-2-3.
Yes. And then the very end was goofy to me when they introduced Shotzi Blackheart out for she's the host of Halloween Havoc.
I don't know.
And so you get Candice LeRae and Johnny back out there, and they're going to get their match, right, for each of them. So you're getting Johnny Gargano and Damian Priest for the North American Championship.
Right.
And you're getting Shotzi Blackheart, Candice LeRae and Io for the Women's Championship. This part I called it. I marked out for this because when I think of Halloween Havoc, I think of this match, the spin the wheel, make the deal match. But they had like a digital wheel, and I hope they have a real wheel to spin. I hope that was just a gimmick for the thing. And then, did you hear Johnny Gargano yelling, "I hate wheels"?
No.
Oh, my.
How did I miss that?
He's just screaming because it wasn't on mic, so he's just yelling, "No, not fair. I hate wheels."
Like, All right.
What's that
Well, I
even
think Pat
mean?
Sajak and Vanna White have something to say about
Does he
that.
not drive? He's never rode a bike or drives in a car. Like, that was kind of dumb. It was just like, he didn't know what to say, and he just yelled something. I'm sure he went backstage and was like, what the fuck was I saying? I hate wheels.
I hate wheels.
He
I
hates,
wish I could go back to the caveman days and
he hates WLLZ. It's a radio station in Detroit. He hates wheels. So, yeah, that was a little cheesy to me, but I was happy to see about the spin the wheel, make the deal match. So the gimmick behind this, if you're not familiar with some old WCW Halloween Havoc, is you don't know what kind of match it's going to be until they spin the wheel. So is it going to be a dog collar match, or is it going to be a cage match, or is it going to be a strap match, or a bamboo on a pole match? I don't know. Whatever they put in there. So that's
I'm with you. I hope it's a physical wheel so that it's, kind of really a random thing, because if it's a digital wheel, I'll never believe in a million years that it wasn't set up.
Yeah, like, I'll still probably believe that the real one was rigged to stop and, kind of become arranged, but nonetheless, the digital one, there was no chance of anything wrong going. So I just hope it's not a digital wheel, because that'd be goofy. But nonetheless, I'm excited to see that. Those will be fun. Damian Priest. So I love some good gimmick matches, and that was what Halloween Havoc was always good for, some gimmick matches. And besides the, oh my God, I don't even know if it was Halloween Havoc. Remember when they put Abdullah the Butcher in that electric chair? And
God, I think that was War Games or something. I don't know.
Nonetheless, go back and watch that. That was funny. That just popped in my head as we were talking. All right, well, I think that's our week of wrestling there, Mr. Eric. Unless you got anything else.
Do end the show with Johnny Gargano hitting Damian Priest with a chair.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that. You know who we did?
Damian Priest did take out Cameron Grimes, like, as a thank you, I guess.
There you go.
Gargano decides to take out Priest.
Take out the Priest. You know who we didn't see this week on AEW, Eric?
Who didn't we see?
Why wasn't he there? What could have happened that Brian Cage wasn't there?
Now that you bring this up, I was digging into the dirt sheets, and I found out. You know what I found out, Brian?
I think I heard about this, but I'll let you break the news.
Tessa Blanchard was in town, and her and Brian Cage ran into each other at Disney World and put on an impromptu match, and you'll never guess in a million years what happened. Brian Cage lost clean to Tessa Blanchard.
Lost clean?
Disney World.
At Disney World?
Clean. And therefore, he was injured pretty bad in that, and unfortunately couldn't make it to AEW this week.
Had to take the night off.
And Taz wasn't there either, was he?
No, Taz wasn't there either. He didn't come out. Neither was.
I'm pretty sure Taz was at the hospital with Brian Cage.
Neither was half the roster. They all just take weeks off, and nobody shows up. Lucha Express wasn't there. Nobody was there. Darby Allin sat in the cheap seats and watched the show the entire week. Why would he come out and wrestle? Why would he get involved? Okay, we'll talk about more about that next week. Guys, go over to YouTube if you're listening on the audio version. Subscribe and like over there. Get the notifications when we go live. Make sure you join us on Facebook and Instagram and get involved with all of that. And then also head on over to, anchor.fm/thekayfabesmark. Leave us a voicemail. Send an email through there. Get involved and like the page and see where we're all the podcasts at, where you can download them for your device and how you care to join us on the show. And also, make sure you head on to audibletrial.com/thekayfabesmark. Get yourself a free audiobook and a free 30-day trial of Audible. And there's lots of stuff on there, podcasts, there's books that are included. I started listening to the Iceberg Slim book about an old school pimp from back in the day. It's a long one, so you got to have some time. And he clearly can remember every minute of his life.
Iceberg Slim was my second book that I got on Audible. I actually paid full price for that bad boy because I heard so many good things about it. And it's a little,
you could deal with,
since we're on a wrestling show, it's a little kayfabe at some points.
Yeah, you're like, how real is all of this? But nonetheless, he was a pimp.
Entertaining
it's
is
a
all
good
hell.
story. Pimp from the Depression. So, anyways, go on to audibletrial.com/thekayfabesmark and get yourself a free audiobook and check all of that out. Share this podcast with a friend. like, subscribe, leave a comment, do all that fun stuff on all of our social media platforms, and let's hang out and talk wrestling. Eric, you got anything before we hit the bricks?
As always, if you want to follow me on Instagram, you can follow me at all one word. Oh yeah, it's Eric. And also, once in a while, my snoozing pit bull over there, Stella, her and I get on TikTok and we film a goofy video or two. There's one that got a decent amount of views of her doing a taste test on random foods.
That was a good one.
So yeah, if you want to see me on the TikTok there, you can reach us at stella.hates.eric.
There you go. And that is the show this week, ladies and gentlemen. Get on there, get involved. Let's talk some wrestling. Eric, hit us with it, and we're out of here.
I think it's time to say, hooty hoo, we out the gates.
Peace.
Bye.